This is one of those things, like, it always has driven me crazy how Steve Ditko's independent work does not move the needle and does not get the attention it deserves. Something like this here, this Steve Ditko crowdfund that has come out just a few days ago, should be at $100,000 or $1 million, because this is beautiful stuff. This is the artistry that is the most amazing work I've ever seen. And Steve Ditko's stuff, Static, one of my favorite superheroes, Mr. A, Konga and Gorgo, and of course his philosophical stuff with Avenging World is just incredible stuff. So they are re-releasing these. Mark Ditko is Steve Ditko's nephew, and of course he's pairing with Mort Todd, who's worked at Marvel. He's ran Cracked Magazine for a while. He's actually worked with Steve Ditko for a long time, and they've got this going on. 4 books right now coming out that I really want to highlight because it deserves it, and this is just a wonderful thing. So this is what's happening. They are releasing some of his work. They're trying to build up a new thing, trying to build up the Steve Ditko brand after his death. There's been a really interesting thing over the last 20, 30 years where it's just like Ditko never got marketed properly. And it's just a really tragic thing to me. Of course, the industry didn't help out at all. You know, they always call, anybody who doesn't have their extremist leftist politics a fascist and try to just like get them out of the industry. Steve Ditko didn't fit with that. As a more objectivist type of person, he just really bothered them with their weird commie crap that they keep pushing all the time. And so, of course, the industry really did not support him on that level. He also didn't play the corporate game. And this is something I really like because I, of course, hate the corporate game. The corporate game's evil, and objectively so. And with that comes a lot of problems. And we saw that with Marvel Comics, with the way Stan Lee took credit for everything that was going on. Steve Ditko really didn't get the artistic credit he deserved. This happened with a lot of the writers out there. They didn't get paid what they were deserved at all either. And so they just, a lot of these guys end up in trouble. I mean, we even see this now. Like Larry Hama, who did G.I. Joe and Wolverine for a long time, says he can't stop working at 78 years old because he can't afford to stop working. He has no possible way to retire. How does that guy, who created some of the most iconic characters of all time, not be able to afford anything? Well, Marvel and Hasbro own everything. It was work for hire. You got paid $50 a page. Well, screw you. Kick you out to pasture. And that's a really terrible way to treat talent. And unfortunately, this is the way corporate art has always been. And it's very, very sad to watch. Well, Steve Ditko just he did his corporate stuff, and he would actually do some Marvel and DC work here and there over the last couple of decades of his life. And he did it to support his independent stuff. His independent stuff, like I said, never really got marketed and the like. And it's interesting. I actually talked with Mark Ditko and Mort Todd yesterday on my live stream. If you missed it, sorry. It's on my main channel. You really should go watch it because we have the best interviews over there. And they talked about things. There's a lot of misconceptions about Ditko because of this. Steve Ditko really didn't want to engage in the fandom process, which I 100% agree with. The fandom process is a nightmare, and it's become a nightmare, and you get these weird people worshiping like these one things. Spidey Man, you did Spidey Man. And he's like, I haven't drawn Spidey Man in 50 years. Spidey Man. And it's really tough to deal with. I get it as an artist, right? And so he just really just kept himself out of that, didn't want to deal with that like pedestal sort of situation, and really just wanted to work professionally and have his work stand for itself and have people enjoy the work and not have to relate it to him as a human being and the like. Pretty neat to have that separation. Very good work ethic. He worked really hard until the day he died, and definitely is somebody like I think we all should try to emulate. I think he was a wonderful, wonderful example of exactly what an artist should be. He didn't care about people's approval. He didn't care about getting awards and any of that kind of process. And that's awesome. Being able to do the art and not care about approval, it's tough because you have to, a couple of things. One, you have to have the stamina for it because it's really hard to create and create and create without getting approval. Let me tell you, it's as somebody who the industry's blacklisted just because I make commentary on YouTube, I do my work really, really hard, and I work a lot harder than a lot of other people in the space, and they don't, and you don't get the credit for it. So you have to care about the work for the work's sake, and that is a tough spot to be in. Number two, you have to be in a position where you can afford to do so too. I'm very lucky here that I have a dedicated fan base that allows me to do what I do. Thank you so much, guys. Everybody promotes the books, and I think this is a good time for a commercial timeout because we are capitalists over here, and I appreciate you being here. So please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us before we finish the rest of this video and talk about this. I have a newsletter I want you to sign up for, guys, because you never know how YouTube's going to go. Never know what's going to happen on this level. And please join my newsletter. I produce comics very, very regularly. Like I said, I work my tail off. I do books as well, novels and comics. And I've got 9 graphic novels in development right now. I try to actually do a style that's a classic style that's a lot more, I'd say, hands-on and a lot less digital than a lot of the stuff is these days. And so if you like that sort of thing, if you like the Ditko style art, you're going to probably enjoy my Deus Vult and Overmind. Go check these out in my web store. It's in the description below. It's directly available in a store from me. Like I said, I've got so much to choose from. I try to write a little something for everybody so that you can enjoy whatever you like, whatever flavor of comics you like. And I'm glad you guys have come here. If you like hard work, if you want to be a part of a cool movement that's changing things in independent comics, this is the spot to be. Thank you for being here, guys. And thanks for supporting us. There's digital versions of these as well because, I want to get you the books right away. It's good stuff. All right. That was my commercial timeout. Thank you again. So, yeah, you have to be in a position where you can actually afford to do so as well. And so he was in this position. It was pretty cool. And he did so. And it always made me sad because I looked at his crowdfunds and, this is 25 days left. So it'll probably get 120, 150 backers by the time it's done at this point. I'm going to promote it as hard as I possibly can. I don't get anything from this, guys, but I just care. I care about this art. I care about this work. I actually really like Mark Ditko as a person and Mort Todd as a person. They are wonderful people in addition to all of this. But the work really stands for itself, and it should, and people should really honestly care about the work. Now, people got a bad impression about Steve Ditko because of his stuff on this. Mark actually talked to me about this on the program yesterday, and there was a kind of false impression about him because a lot of it was like people thought that he maybe just shooed marketing and didn't like marketing, didn't want marketing done or whatever. Apparently, this was incorrect, and I was guilty of believing this too. That he just cared about the work. The work should stand for itself. Marketing shouldn't matter. He didn't care about that, but he, as the artist, was like, "That's my job. Marketing's somebody else's job." And gosh, I wish I would have just come across him and with my marketing degree and the 20, 30 years ago, written out a plan, been able to do stuff for him at that level would have been really nice. But oh well. We'll start now, and we'll try to help out as best we can to preserve this guy's wonderful artistic legacy. And that's what we're doing here. So he didn't actually hate marketing. He just wanted somebody else to do it. And unfortunately, in the independent business, that's kind of not how it works. Trust me, I know. As a writer myself, I'm doing the production stuff. I'm doing formatting stuff. I would love to be at a point where I could fund an operation to have people do all these different components for me, but I do have to do all this stuff for me. And eventually, it'd be nice to just be able to write a script, hand it to somebody to manage the project, and then, maybe I'll promote it on YouTube because I'm kind of good at that too. But yes, we'll get there at some point. I'm glad you guys are here. Please sign up for my newsletter so I don't lose you. Get the books, and so we can make ourselves there. But also back this, and I want this back today. And again, this is 4 books. And what's cool about this is there's a Mr. A's Lost Adventures, and this is from Mort Todd. Mort Todd apparently commissioned a series of Mr. A from Steve Ditko. I had no idea this existed. Apparently, it did come out. This is the black and whites of this has been out before, but it was meant to be coming out in color at the time, and I had no idea this was the case because a lot of Steve Ditko's stuff was black and white. Apparently, that was mostly for financial considerations because it cost so much to do color print runs back in the day. Now, of course, you can do all this print on demand and make it its own thing. It's very different than it used to be, but this is really, really, really interesting. And so you get this really cool color thing, and this Mr. A's Lost Adventures actually has Mr. A fighting against supervillains, which he never did before. It was always like mobsters and corrupt government officials and the like that he fought with before. So this is a very different story from Mr. A than it was done before. Steve Ditko wrote and did all the art on it, and this is in color for the first time. I've never seen the other edition of this. I'm so excited to read this. This is like a dream come true that this is coming out for me. Now, on top of this, he's got other books. Now, you've got Fantastic Giants, and this is a lot of the Konga stuff from back in the day that Charlton did. He was doing this artwork right here when he was doing Spider-Man, and shortly after. And this is really beautiful work that has some fun stuff. Joe Gill I think, did a lot of the writing on it, and I love these books right here. Fun comics at their finest from the Silver Age. Next It's got Static. Now, this is a superhero from the 80s that he developed. Really, really cool stuff. It blends like the action-packed elements of Spider-Man and Speedball, which he did for Marvel in the 80s. If you don't know that one, Speedball fans, shout out in the description. And it also adds his objectivist commentary to it as well. So cool stuff right here. If I have one character I could write for Steve Ditko at some point in my lifetime, and hopefully maybe it'll come about someday, Static is the one I want to write. It's excellent stuff. Now, on top of that, he did the Avenging World, and this is really a bunch of his philosophical cartooning. This is Steve Ditko, again, at his fine. Look at this stuff right here. Look at this. Good versus evil right here. Life, freedom, good. Death, slavery, crime, dictatorship, bad, right? And he shows exactly how his philosophy works with art. It's a show, don't tell kind of situation. He does it, and it's beautiful stuff. If you've never read this is going to be a great print of this. And this one's going to be in the black and white because it was intended on being that way. You can see the ink washes that he did to really flesh out the black and white to make it beautiful. So these are all available right now. I'm going to put this in the description below to try to get this going, guys. It's so close to funding, and this is stuff that really, like, in a world where it's like about merit, this should be having 1,000 backers, 2,000 backers, 10,000 backers. This is really a piece of comic book history, and it's beautiful stuff, and I really love it. So please, thank you guys for being here. Hit the like and subscribe button. Hope that was interesting talk about Steve Ditko today. Love to hear from you guys. Leave a comment down below. Hit the like and subscribe button. Sign up for my mailing list, guys. Be here, and of course, check out my comics as well. And I appreciate you all for supporting all this awesome stuff. We'll be back soon.